Hello, welcome to today's Immigration Live. It's a Monday, so I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's actually quite nice out here in LA today. I hope that everybody's doing well. So, what's the subject for today? Well, I'm going to be talking about the H2Bs, but specifically what countries qualify, what countries can, what countries can't, because there's always an issue of that when someone says, "Can I get a temporary work visa?" And we have to go over that. And so, what I'll do is I'll give my spiel on the H2Bs, and then I'll go back. I will scroll through everybody who joined, and I'll answer each question that you have, assuming it's immigration related. And then when we get to the end, we get to the end. Okay? And we'll go from there. So, what's the H2B? Let's get into it. What's the H2B? Just a brief thing. I mean, I've done lots of videos on H2Bs, but for all intents purposes, it is a temporary visa. Okay? And by temporary, the specific definition, it has to be non-agricultural, and it has to be a position that's temporary in nature. And there's different ways that they define temporary, which, that's a whole other video in itself, one-time need or, end of year counting type thing. But what I'd like to go over in more detail is the fact that not everybody from every country qualifies for an H2B. You could have a sponsor, or two sponsors, or three sponsors, whatever. And you could be home free as far as that goes. But if you come from a country where the H2Bs are not accepted, then it's not going to help you much, okay? So when going down the path of coming on an H2B, the first and foremost thing you need to do is to determine if you are a citizen of a country where H2Bs are accepted. And it's not like if it's accepted now, that it'll be accepted forever. And by the same token, it's not like if it's not accepted now, it won't ever be accepted. Okay, every year it changes. So what's the dilly? Okay, why do some qualify and some don't? Okay, well, the bottom line is that if a country violates repatriation agreements, doesn't live up to what it is supposed to do with the U.S., has all kinds of visa overstays and violations, they likely will be taken off the list. Okay? So, that's the bottom line. So, if you happen to come from places like, Europe, anywhere in Europe, South America, places like that, usually those countries don't have any problems. But, the obvious ones that come to mind that usually do have problems, places like Russia, North Korea, pretty much all of Africa, except for South Africa, okay? So those are the areas of the world where if you want to come here, you have to going to come on something else. It doesn't mean you can't find another visa. It just means that you're not going to be coming on the H2B. Okay, so if you know someone, who's medically challenged, broke their hip, fell down the stairs, and needs a year of rehabilitation and you to live there to work with them, well, the H2B is a good option for that. Make sure you come from the country that does it. And then just so you know, the H2B generally goes through the same procedure as a normal labor certification, except it's rapid and fast. Okay, you still need to do their version of the labor certification. So, that in essence is a nutshell of what countries qualify and what countries don't. So, as about now, there's about 80 countries around the world that do qualify. So if you know how many countries there are on the planet, and only 80 countries, and 80 is a lot, okay? But if you're not in that 80, you're not coming on an H2B. Okay, so be sure you check the list. Send me an email, whatever. I'll let you know if you're even on the list before you waste a bunch of time preparing the H2B application. Alrighty? All right. So let's go back through the people that joined and just see if we have any questions. Keeping in mind a couple things. One, it's President's Day, so probably a lot of people are not feeling my questions. And two, it's a Monday, okay? People are just waking up from the weekend. All right, let's see. Let's see what we have. Let me scroll down here. Okay. Let's see if we have any questions. Okay. Husband has a work permit. We apply for I-130. There's no question there. I think what you're saying is your husband has a work permit, and can you apply for the I-130? And the answer is no, not based just on a work permit. I have to know on what basis he got the work permit. Is it asylum? Is it something else? Okay, what is it? And I have to know what your status is. There's a lot of questions. The bottom line here is just because your husband has a work permit does not allow you to get a work permit by itself. Okay, I need more information. Okay. Is child support arrears for LRP an issue to trigger deportation? Okay, for LRP, are you saying lawful permanent residence? Okay, the green card holder? Okay, so being late, I'm assuming you're talking about a green card holder and he's supposed to pay, for child support and he's not, for whatever reason. Can he be deported? And that by itself is not a deportable offense. Okay. It's not good that he's not paying it, but that by itself won't get him deported. Where that usually comes up is when they want to apply for naturalization. And then, yes, on naturalization, by not paying for child support, they say it shows they don't have good moral character, and that is needed to apply for naturalization. Okay, so that's that. Okay, sir, what if you have a disorderly conduct with domestic abuse modifier on it? Are you going to be deported? It's possible. Okay, first of all, when you have something going in criminal court, the time to ask the immigrant, I'm glad you're asking now, but the time to really ask an immigration attorney is before you take the plea, not after. Because the criminal judge and the prosecutor, they may think they're giving you the best deal on the planet, but they may not be. Okay? Sometimes it takes very little tweaking to make a world of difference in immigration law, but you need to have an immigration lawyer look at it. So I need to look at the statutory language of exactly what it is that you have agreed to. Okay? I don't know if you've already taken the plea. If not, you need to retain a law firm to represent you, to basically do what I call a criminal evaluation, where we work directly with the criminal attorney and get whatever on the table that will minimize your effect. Okay? Keep in mind, you're not just deported. You can fight your case, okay, if you are put in removal proceedings. Okay? You just have to try to be in a position that you can fight it better than not. Okay? All right, let's see. Second. Okay. Yeah, this is Pitchy got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you. So you're welcome. So this is from an earlier question. Says he verifies that he's a green card holder. He says Wisconsin, so that doesn't change what I've said. Okay. That just verifies. Okay. All right. Let's see. Pitchy got the #1 gifter badge. All right. Is it possible to take my son with me on the H2-B program? I wouldn't want to leave him behind. Well, that's a good question because today's the H2-B video. Live. That was the subject. The answer is yes. Okay, but I have to qualify that. First of all, there are dependents for the H2-B. Okay, which if you get the H2B, then if your son qualifies, he will get the H4. Okay, so how does he qualify? Well, one, he can't be inadmissible. So if he has a bunch of crimes, he's going to need a waiver. And secondly, he's going to have to be single, and he's going to have to be unmarried. Okay, then he'll qualify as a dependent. Okay. Uh, Good morning, Alice. Okay, and this is a hard name to pronounce. Vijay Kaidar got the number 3 gifter badge. Sid's case is taking how long to get the green card? Well, first of all, don't assume just because you filed a Sid's case, you're going to get the green card. Okay, it has to be approved, and it's not automatic. Nothing is automatic. Okay, it has to be a good case, and I need to know what part of the country you're from. It takes longer in certain parts of the country, and I need to know if you got the family, if you got the family court order. Okay, procedurally, if you've taken the proper steps. If everything's been taken and now it's filed with USCIS, you're looking at 1 to 2 years. Okay, for the Lozano, you're basically telling me a few blurbs of your case, and you want to know if you can plead guilty or not, or no contest. I can't just tell you by looking at this. I need to fully review your case. I need to fully review your history. I need to fully review the criminal court file, and I would need to have discussions with the criminal attorney. It's nothing that I can just say yes or no. I can't read, 2 lines that you've done here and say, yes, go ahead and plead no contest, no problem. I mean, I'm sure you realize that, okay? You do need to retain an immigration attorney to do the proper analysis. It will be in your benefit, okay? It doesn't matter if there's no jail time, okay? If it affects your immigration, then ultimately it's the immigration afterwards that's going to be the most important, whether you serve jail time or not. Alrighty? Okay. Let's see. How can I contact you? Well, you have multiple ways of contacting me. You can call my office. Okay, and I can just put it 562-495-0554. You can email me, blerner, californiaimmigration.us. You can type a message here and I'll do the clicks. You can make a consultation, at which point I'm going to tell you exactly what I just told you over the live. Okay. Okay, let's see. How about if someone was offered a plea for a criminal case before they went straight to trial? I think what you're saying is you were never offered a plea and you went straight to trial. Well, okay, that means you have to go to trial, okay, and you're going to need a real good criminal attorney. The criminal evaluation that I'm talking about is really only if there is a plea. That's when it will affect you. If it goes to trial, you're either going to be guilty or not, and then the immigration consequences will follow from that. Okay? He's a baby. This is a follow-up on the question on the H4 I was talking about. Can an H4, can his son come with him? He's a baby, 8 months old. Would he leave with me the same day I do? The answer is assumably if you do it right, because he's not going to be able to walk on his own to the airport. He needs to apply specifically, and by he, I mean you need to apply on his behalf for the H4. That needs to be a proper application. You need to have the H2-B approved, and then you need to do the H4. That all needs to go to the consulate, okay? How much is your consultation? Well, initially I offer a free consultation, which is what you just got, okay? This is for Lozano. I do offer a more detailed consultation for 20 minutes for $250, and then an even more detailed one for $350. That's 30 minutes, okay? All right, just a minute. It just scrolled way back up. Just a second. Happy Monday. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Sassy. Appreciate it. What's the number again? 562 495 0554. Sorry, I know I say it too fast, but I've been saying it now since 1996. So it's been a while. Okay. Have you ever had a case where immigration lost your entire file, the entire A file's lost? Yes, I've had that. I've had ones where they've tried to push through convictions without having any proof because they claim they lost the file. So, I mean, it depends what you're applying for. It depends what they lost. It depends how long it's been. So there's all kinds of stuff that you might be able to do, but I need more information. Okay. Let's see. Just a minute. Okay. I'm just scrolling to see if we have any other questions here. Okay. Sassy got the number 2 gifter badge. Can I apply for a SIDGE if I came here 3 weeks ago? Oh, so, see, you're the guy that asked, how long does it take to get the green card? And I was telling you, well, there's certain, you need to get the state order and there's certain things and depending where it is. So you haven't even started. So the answer is, can you apply for SIDGE if you came 3 weeks ago? The answer is yes, if you qualify. Okay, I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you're an orphan. I don't know if your parents have abandoned you. I don't know what state you are and if they're going to issue a family order of guardianship. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff to do a SIDGE petition. You can't just come here and apply, of course, without qualification. Okay, so I need more information from you. Okay? You are welcome, Lee. Okay, someone that was deported 13 years ago, which form of waiver is best to come back to the U.S.? Well, that depends. Do you like how I say that a lot? But that's the truth. Because when you're an expert in immigration law, there's so many different possibilities. Okay, why were you deported? Were you deported for unlawful presence? Were you deported because of a crime? Were you deported because of fraud? If it was a crime, how old is the crime? Were you an aggravated felon? Okay, so there's all kinds of ways. Do you have a U.S. citizen and wish to come back? To petition you? Is a media relative? If it's an I-130, is it current? Okay, lots of different issues. But the answer is, it can be done, but I need to give you a consultation to determine how and what the best path is. Okay, are you able to assist me with the program? I'm trying to do it on my own, but it's kind of tedious. Well, I mean, you can call my office. My office can be retained to prepare the H2-B and to petition, get it submitted, and to prepare the H4 and get it submitted. Of course, you have to have the sponsor. Okay, I have lots of people who say, can you find me a sponsor? And I say, no, I'm not an employment agency. I'm an immigration attorney. Okay, you need to find the sponsor. You need to find the employer that's willing to help you. If I were to find the sponsor, I mean, that would take all my time. I wouldn't be able to help people with immigration law. Okay, so once you find the employer, then we can go forward. But of course, since you're watching this, I need to know if you're from a country that will take and make eligible H2Bs. Okay? Can I ask my boyfriend with a K1 visa, he was deported, I'm in the military? Well, you can ask. The question is whether it'll be approved. Okay, now, if he was deported, the first part, of course, is for you to ask, but I need to know why was he deported. Let's say he was deported as an aggravated felon. Let's say he has a, I'm not saying he does, but let's say he has a drug offense for trafficking, cocaine, whatever. That makes him an aggravated felon. And so you can ask him until the end of your life, he's not coming in, okay, based on that. So I need to know why he was deported, when he was deported. I need to know if he's subject to the permanent bar. I mean, the fact you're in the military is good and all, but of course he needs to be admissible to be able to come in. And there's different things that can be done. There's different petitions that can be done. Okay? I mean, when one's deported, you can do a permission to re-enter to get rid of the deportation bar. But then you're still inadmissible generally for the reasons you were deported. So I need to know if it's just unlawful presence, in which case he needs to do what's called the 601 waiver. I need to know if he's an aggravated felon, in which case we would probably have to do criminal relief to try to vacate or reduce the crime so he's not an aggravated felon. Okay? All right. Sassy, become the #1 gifter badge. Thank you. Okay, I'm already on H2-B. I just need help with the H4. Okay. No problem. I'm assuming you have a relative who is in the... I assume that you are... you have a relative who is in the... God, I lost my train of thought. It was just going... Sorry. H4. Okay. If you have a relative who is a citizen, who is, a spouse or a child who is under 21 and unmarried, then you do the H4. If you already have the H2-B, you need to submit the H4. Get it done. That's that. Okay. Okay. I'm glad you're eligible. Okay. I understand you're from Jamaica. You're eligible. Good for you. All right. So hopefully you have a sponsor and, give my office a call. Okay. He was deported for domestic violence. Okay, well, this is from a prior question, and that means he definitely is going to need a criminal waiver. Now the question becomes, he was deported because of domestic violence. Was the sentence longer than a year? If it was, he's an aggravated felon. Okay, and then we're back to square one where he needs to do criminal relief to reduce so he's not an aggravated felon. Okay. All right. The file was lost for permanent resident with criminal convictions renewing green card. Well, that's not good. Okay. I mean, you can't wait forever because they supposedly lost the file. Okay, that's not your problem. Okay, ID Boss got the #1 gifter badge. That's not your problem. But what I need to know, and what you might be interested in, especially with today's political climate, is if you have criminal convictions, how long ago were they? Okay, I'm assuming because you're trying to renew your green card, they were quite some time ago. I need to know what they were because you might actually have a better chance of becoming a citizen than renewing your green card. Believe it or not. There are ways, even with criminal convictions, of becoming a U.S. citizen of which they don't need your A file. Okay, they can't not adjudicate a naturalization application because they lost your A file. Can you imagine? They could say all day long, well, sorry, we lost the A file. We can't adjudicate. Goodbye. Okay, that's not how it works. All right, how long does it take to reopen an I-130 decision? Well, why was it denied? And on what basis are you reopening it? You can't just assume because you're going to file a motion to reopen it, it'll be done. In fact, the exact opposite is true. It's more difficult to get it reopened than it is to just deny the motion to reopen. Okay? Can you pin your number, please? How do I do that? I am technically adept, but I do not know how to pin my number up here. But I'll figure it out. Lee, you're asking. I will figure out how to pin my number, okay? I assume there's just a way that I can, just a minute, live GIFs, flip camera, mirror your video, mute, settings, comment, live, draw, and guess. Well, okay, I'll figure it out. Sorry, I won't do it during the live. Okay. All right, let's see. I got approved for VAWA. How long am I going to wait for my pending 485? Okay, again, just because you got it approved for VAWA doesn't mean you're home free for the adjustment. I mean, I'm glad you got approved for the VAWA, but you could still be inadmissible. Okay, I need to determine your admissibility. Now, if you're not inadmissible and there's no other issues and you file it properly, you're looking at about a year, give or take. Okay, again, it depends where you are. As I always say, if you're in Montana, not that long. If you're in LA, way longer. Okay? Arleth got the #2 gifter badge. Can a citizen that had an attempted murder charge petition for his spouse? The case was closed 2 years ago. Okay. So this gets into the issue of whether or not a Walsh waiver is needed. Okay? It's the only time that a U.S. citizen has problems petitioning people when they have to do the Walsh waiver. So the Walsh waiver are basically sexually related crimes with minors. Okay? And so pretty much if that citizen did have an attempted murder charge for the spouse, and the spouse was over age, over 18, and there was no sexually related convictions, then Walsh waiver is not going to apply, and the answer is yes. That person can petition. Will the shortage of DHS employees affect employments for Juarez? Yes, it's likely. Things are just getting longer. That's how it is. So just make sure that the petition is well done. And if it takes way too long, you have to do a petition. You have to do a writ of mandate, okay, to force them to make the decision. Do you think it's a good idea to apply for advanced parole with an expunged case? No. Arleth, I think I remember your name. I think you asked a question on a prior one, yes? I need to know what crime was expunged, because there's people that think that because they get a case expunged that they no longer have any immigration problems whatsoever. And that is not true. In fact, for immigration law, there are very few crimes that, in fact, when you expunge them, that it means you don't have a conviction under immigration law. Okay? So the vast majority of cases that you have a criminal history on, whether you get expunged or not, means you have a conviction for immigration law, and there's issues. Okay? I need to know why you want to go advanced parole, when the crime was, what was expunged, when it was expunged. Because again, as with a prior question, you may or may not qualify for something else. Okay? If you're applying for lawful permanent residency and you have advanced parole but you have an expunged case, I think it is the opposite of a good idea to leave, especially with today's political climate. So unless your mother is dying, the answer is no. Okay? And if that is the case, then you need protection before you leave. Okay? So call my office. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm almost getting to where I have to go to my meetings. I'll answer what I can here. Just a minute. So the loss... No, aggravated felons don't qualify for citizenship. And if they lost the file and you're trying to renew your green card with an aggravated felony on it, that also is not a good idea, because all they're going to do is put you in removal proceedings and try to deport you. The only question I have at this point is, why haven't you been put in removal proceedings already? How did you get through the cracks? Okay, you have an opportunity here. Okay, and the opportunity is to try to make motions with that aggravated felony to vacate or reduce it. Don't renew your green card. Don't apply for citizenship with an aggravated felony. Okay, period. You got to try to renew you have to try to do criminal relief. Okay, let someone in the comments type your number, then tap on it, and you should be able to pin it. Oh, thank you, as told by Hempress. Okay, I'll try that. Can somebody type my number here? It's 562-495-0554. Now, if I see that, then I'm going to press on it like Hempress just said to do. And I assume if I press on it, it'll say, do you want to pin this? And I'll say yes. We'll see if it works. Okay. Deported for crime of moral turpitude. Criminal case from 2005. Deported 2012. Yes. I mean, there are waivers for that. I mean, if you're deported for a crime of moral turpitude, then you're not an aggravated felon. If you're deported in 2012 and you haven't tried to come back, then there's likely no more deportation waiver, so you don't need to do a permission to re-enter, but you're still going to need to do a criminal waiver. So the answer is yes. Okay, you just need to do it right. Okay. Oh, okay, Lee, let me see. I'm going to press the number. Ha! Pin this comment. Hey, did it work? Ha! Thank you. Okay. Hey, I now know how to do it. I learned how to do it. You'd think there'd be a way I could pin my number without having to ask someone to help me do that, but I appreciate it. Okay. I don't know how long it stays. Oh, I see. It's going to stay pinned for 40 more seconds. That is so cool. Okay. Wow, I like it. Okay. Hey, everybody, you got 32 seconds to write my number down. Unless I just ask someone to write it again and I pin it again. Okay. Well, the questions keep coming, but I do have to... How about I answer... I'm going to answer 2 more questions, okay? That's all I have time for. And I don't like rushing through the answers, because, I mean, I could rush through them all, but what's the use of that? Okay, I understand. You're saying, no, he didn't murder. I understand that. It's attempted murder. I understand that. Okay? That doesn't change my answer. Okay? Assuming it's not sexually related and a minor, then he can still petition. And to be honest, murder or attempted murder is the same answer. Okay, there's no bar for a U.S. citizen petitioning based on that. It's only if the Walsh waiver comes into effect. Okay? All right. Let's see. I have one more question. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm going to make my U.S. branch office from sharing and site support. Should I apply for B1, B2, or L1? Okay, well, first of all, you can't come to the U.S. on a B1, B2, which is to visit, go to Disneyland, say hi to grandma, and open a branch office. Okay, opening a branch office requires an L1. There's a lot of people who try to do that on a B1, B2. They end up violating their status. They end up being in violation, and they end up being deported and or barred because they thought it would be easier to do that than to go through all the rigmarole of what's necessary for an L1. So the question is absolutely an L1, but L1 is 1,000 times harder to get than a B2. That's the reality. But you're not opening up a branch office in the U.S. on a B1 or B2. That's why it's a visitor visa, okay? And I understand the B1 is for business parts, but that's when you negotiate contracts and so forth for your office in your home country. It's not to do business in the U.S. for the U.S., okay? All righty. Well, there we go. Questions keep coming, but sorry I couldn't get to them all. Okay. I appreciate everybody coming to the live today. Thank you, Lee. All right, thumbs up. I will do my next live shortly, and in the coming days. And if you have questions, you have my number. It was pinned, so you know what it is. Or you can email me, put whatever you want. Okay. All right, everybody, have a good day.